Hello everyone, this is the Wizard from Wizard of Mo Games, and we're at the Wizard's Table. Today I have Rogue Dungeons 2nd Edition, and there have been several how-to-play videos on this. I just received this in day before yesterday. I have sleeved all the cards, and I am just going off of what I've seen on how-to-play videos. From the Dungeon Dive and the actual creator of the game. And it's from Cerberus Gate Games. You can go look it up and order it, and I got it within maybe a week or so. But I'm just going to go off pure memory of how this works. We'll go from there. I'll do a little bit of explaining as I go to sort of give you an idea how it works. But basically, this is a rogue dungeon crawl. The first edition of it was done on the Game Crafter, and I think it's still being done through Game Crafter, but there was a crowd buy for it, and it evolved into the 2nd edition. And I just found out today that there's actually either an app or a video game or a tabletop simulator for it. I found that quite interesting as well. That's a good way to learn how to do it. So what I have here, you're not going to see these. I've got them sitting up. These are all room cards, and they are based on a gem color. And these are the monsters, level 2 through 5, and the bosses. I have level 1s currently down here. The map itself is just a little bitty card that has a bunch of gems on it. So you're not doing 5-foot squares. You're moving from gem to gem to gem to work your way through the dungeon, and then you'll mark it off unless it's a persistent. Then you'll mark it and keep going back to it, and I'll explain that here in a minute. But your goal is to work your way through this dungeon, collecting loot, trading things, fighting monsters, and then get to the exit and move to the next level down. Now, all of these cards are different, and they're two-sided. And there is a tomb mode, so in 2nd edition they have upped the ante. And I think there's 14 different dungeon cards and maybe 10 different tomb cards. And in order to play tomb, you weed out cards that have dungeon on it, and you just do the tomb cards and the non-label cards. And if you're doing the dungeon, you weed out all the tomb cards. So there's just such a variety here. So I do have the monsters here. This is how I track what level I'm on. I'm going to go through 5 levels, and then I'm going to fight a boss. Over here we have loot cards. They normally sit here, but it's a huge stack of loot. And when you defeat monsters or get through traps, you're going to gain experience points, just like in a rogue dungeon crawl, and you're going to get loot. Well, the designer of this game thinks along the lines that I do and says, you know, when you find loot, it's great, but the goal is not to collect as much loot as you can get and drag it out of the dungeon, go sell it, and buy a castle. You're going to need to use that loot to survive. And what's worth more, your life or that bag of copper? So these cards are going to be constantly coming into play and being discarded and coming back to you, and it's really cool. This deck here is just a stack of cards, and certain things are going to direct you to go dig through that and get them. So it's not shuffled. It's just a bunch of cards, and it says, hey, look, you found a henchman. Go in there and dig out and find that guy or gal and put him here. So that's cool. And you have these slots. So what I've done is already laid these out. I chose the sorcerer, being the wizard, and these cards come two-sided, so you can choose which side you want. These actually show male and female side. You have, this is your dashboard, so you have henchmen, weapons, treasure, spells or specials, anyway, they're for you only, potions, scrolls, armor, and your backpack. So these are actually starting cards for the sorcerer. And there are 10 different characters in the box, and every one of them has their own special set of starting cards. So they have geared up before they went in here, and they're all carrying different stuff. You know, some people have ropes, and some people have, you know, crossbows, and some people are carrying a bunch of potions and got a henchman with them or wearing armor. So I just thought I'd grab the sorcerer and take a chance and go on through there. So what I have is a magic staff. It's my main weapon. And how you tell that, this is your stat tracker here on the top. And you have a little bull head, it's red. This is your strength. Well, my character card tells me what that starting strength is. Every character's will be slightly different, so super asymmetrical. You know, I'm not a tough guy. You know, I rely on magic to do my stuff. So I have a strength of 2. I have an agility of 3, so, you know, I'm not encumbered by all that armor. And then I have an intellect of 3, and this is how I'm casting these spells. Well, there is a little burst around my primary ability. That's a type of weapon that I choose to use. I could use other weapons, but this is my primary. This is what I want to do. This fourth line is your vitality. So vitality basically determines what your maximum hit points is, and then your health determines what your current hit points is. Whenever you increase vitality, you get to gain a hit point, but you don't go to full health. So if I was at 1 and gained a vitality, I would be at 2, but I'd be at vitality 5, and my max would move up. How you move these up throughout the game, if you defeat a monster, you're going to get experience points. Level 1, you're going to get an experience point. Go through certain traps and survive, you're going to gain experience points. And you can spend those experience points based upon what it says on the board to get up to the next level. So if I wanted to increase my strength, I would spend 2 XP to move from 1 to 3. And this is how you level up throughout the game. And you just decide how you want to do it. But you need to think about it, because during the attack or using a skill, you're going to roll a 10-sided die. It's like, oh no, here it comes, luck. Yeah, well, I think adventurers require luck, but there are ways to mitigate this luck. So if you're asked to do a skill check, it's going to tell you what kind, and it says, hey, sorcerer, I need you to do an agility skill check. Well, my level is 3, which means on this 10-sider, I'd have to roll a 1 or a 2. Oh no, man. What is that? 20% chance of succeeding? Oh, what's going to happen? Oh, I rolled a 4. Well, in this game, they have luck. Luck can be purchased for 5 XP. I currently start with 3 because I'm going to need all the luck I can get. But it is a rare resource. But when you're spending that XP for luck, you're not pumping up your levels. So it's a balance. How do I figure this out? It's a puzzle to get through this thing. I must survive. But all is not lost. This is hard mode. If you were playing intermediate mode, you'd roll 2 10-sided dice and choose which one you wanted to use. And if you're playing first-time player mode, you're going to roll 3 of them and choose which one you want. So there are various levels of difficulty. So the reason why I have the second 10-sider out, you're going to say, here he goes, the wizard. I thought initially, I'm going to play intermediate and just roll 2. And then I said, you know what? I am a veteran gamer. I'm going to go with 1. And I'm just going to put this other one aside, although it looks nice. That green is beautiful. And so I'm going to be rolling 10. And I'm going to rely on my wits, my skills, my gear to make it happen and see how far I can go with this. Now, they included a lovely brown die with this, which the 6-sided die is used for things like gaining health or other things throughout the game. You roll the 6-sider and add or subtract. One of the things you use that for is for camping. So in between rooms, you can camp. And that's going to allow you to discard this, roll a die sick, and all heroes, because this was initially a single player, but now you can play 1 to 3, would gain the roll plus 1 health. And if you're not on a stairwell, which this is where the map comes into play, you're going to come in on a stairwell, you're going to work your way through, and then you're going to end on a stairwell to go to the next level. If you camp there, great. But if you camp anywhere else, there's a chance that you could encounter a monster. So at level 1, basically we're going to look and say if you roll below the current dungeon level when recovering health, if I rolled a 1, oh, they have this nice brown one. It has rounded edges and preferential. I'm not a round edge guy, so I got me a nice sharp edged one of my own to match my 10-sider. So this is the one I'll be rolling. But if I rolled a 1 to gain health, I would gain 2 because I get 1 plus the roll. And I'm still safe because I'm on first level. But if I was on, say, the 4th level and rolled a 2 and got 3 health back, now I'm going to get a wandering monster because I rolled below the dungeon level. I'm going to draw a monster and resolve combat. So basically, if you're moving through the dungeon and you decide to stop and camp, somebody's going to wonder what's going on. Hey, who built that fire? What's that? I smell food, smoke, treasure. So that's how that works. So these cards I start with for the sorcerer, along with 3 camping gears, which I come out of this dig through deck. Just dig through and get these and put them here. When you use them, a lot of the stuff is discard. They're gone, but you're gaining them and you're discarding them and gaining them. You're managing your hand. All right, so my magic staff. It gives me 1 damage. Because it's blue, it's my favorite weapon, and my damage is based upon the number of icons of that weapon that I'm using. My attack is going to be a 10-sided die plus my current level of intellect. So when I roll this 10 and get a 9, that's going to be a 12. When you're going against monsters, they're going to have a value that you have to beat. And if you beat it, you hit them. And you hit them for the damage based on the number of weapons you have of that type. Now, if I had 3 of them, it would still only do 2 damage, and I track that with a little fist here because it will only do as much damage as my lowest stat ability. This incentivizes putting strength up a little bit if I want to start doing a little bit more damage. You know, well, but I'm a sorcerer. I don't need to be strong. You are if you're going to basically do some damage and survive this dungeon. So if he spent 2 experience points, quick and easy, gets it up to 3, and he had 3 items that were blue, he could deal 3 damage when he hit. So skill checks, you roll below the value. Attack rolls, there is no monster attacks you back, this, that, and another. It's 1 roll. And if I roll and don't meet the value with my roll and my intellect, for me, I'm hit. And I take damage based on what the monster deals. If it's a tie, if I meet the value and say, hey, look, he's got 6 and I rolled 6 total, we're both hit. So I hit him for my damage, and it hits me for its damage. It's a tandem thing. I exceed the number on the monster, I hit the monster. And that's how it works. It's 1 roll, and either you're hit, you're both hit, or it's hit. So I like that. Quick, easy go with some luck mitigation. You spend a luck token, you can roll the die up 1 pip, or roll the die down 1 pip. Why would I roll it down? For a skill check. Why would I roll it up? For a to-hit check. Or you can spend that luck token and say, it's way out of range, there's no way I'm going to get it, I'm just going to spend it and re-roll. And that allows you to re-roll the die, and you may be stuck with what you roll, or if you had more luck, you could probably move it around a little more. So that's cool. A 1. On an attack roll, a 1 is always a miss and you are hit. A 10 is always a hit I like that it says 10 and not 0 on that. It's always a hit against the monster, and you are not hit. So it doesn't matter what the value is. You roll a 1, you're hit. They're not. You roll a 10, they're hit. And the opposite, if I'm rolling a skill check, a 1 is a success. A 10 is a failure. Okay? Because you're trying to go below that. All right, I think that covers that. It covers these. Now, let's go through the items I have. I have a magic staff. Now, sometimes you're going to be discarding these weapons. You're going to keep them there to help that damage, but sometimes it's like, man, I need to do something, and it gives you a little special on the bottom. Says, hey, if you discard this, you can do 2 more points. Oh, great, that's going to help. You're going to get loot all the time. You're going to go to these purple people. I think they're the weapons people. I'll figure it out as I go. Hey, I don't know where I'm going. I'm a stupid wizard. All right, so what you have here, these are spells. And these are, for me, these are my specials. But I have to have at least 3 intellect to cast this one, 5 to cast that one, and 7 to cast that one. And when I do, they're discarded. But there is a little symbol down here that shows experience. And if I spend that experience, I can buy it back. That's cool. So, my first one is Animate Dead. After defeating a monster, I can discard this to take a skeleton from the specialty deck, just dig for it, or just discard it. Wow, that's cool. This one, Fireball. I have to have 5 intellect. I can buy it back for 5. Discard to inflict die 6 plus 1 damage. Wow, when I'm only doing 1, that's pretty awesome. And then Lightning, it takes 7 intellect, 10 to buy it back. But I could discard this to inflict my current weapon damage to all monsters. These cannot be traded. That cannot be traded. This says it can't be traded. The Fireball, I don't know. I wouldn't trade a Fireball. So what that does, there are some instances where you have multiple monsters that are coming out. And certain rooms will say, hey, here's an encounter, draw 3. Or draw 2. Well, using the lightning bolt to deal my weapon damage to all of them would be pretty awesome, but I'm nowhere near high enough in a level to do that. I thought that was interesting how I'm a young sorcerer. I only know 1 spell, but as I level up, I'm going to learn more. That's cool. Potions, I don't start with any. Treasures, they're basically trade bait. They count as 2 loot cards. When you meet traders, they're going to say, hey, spend 2 loot cards of your loot to get something. Well, you can just give them 1 treasure and they're like, hey, that's cool. So I'm going to put this camping gear down here in my backpack. I'm going to put my loot across the bottom here because it can get extensive. Here I have some scrolls. So this is pretty cool. I have a luck scroll. It says discard to pass any ability check even after you roll the die. It's like, oh, I got to do a skill. It's going to be tough. I roll it and make it. Hey, it's a miracle. If I don't, I cast the scroll and say, oh, I pass it anyway. But then it's gone. And I might find another one. I might not. The loot deck is pretty deep, folks. Pretty deep. We'll see. And then I have a teleport. Discard to bypass the current room and move all your heroes to any location on the dungeon level map. Okay, cool. Hey, run away, and poof, we're gone. We move somewhere else, but we're not going to get the experience for it. So it's a save my butt in a tight situation here. And then you get 3 camping gear out of the little take me deck. And this is, again, when you camp, you discard, roll the die 6, gain health, but don't roll too low, because if you do, guess what? And guess what? You can also use luck to pip this up or re-roll it as well. At least I am. All right, so I start at level 2 strength, level 3 agility, level 3 intellect, 4 vitality, starts with 4 health. I start with 3 luck, which that's amazing, and I'm only doing 1 damage. And this is here just to remind me when I get multiple cards there, they're going to stack up, and it's like, ooh, what is it? I can just glance at this, okay? So I'm just going to kick it off, folks. Level 1 monsters are here. I'm on level 1. What these are, whenever you visit a room, depending on the color of the room, it'll be different things. Red ones are combat. Yellow ones are traps. Some of them are persistent, so you have to go through it each time you pass through there. And, you know, if it's a spike trap, you're going to have to jump over it. Ooh, I succeeded. But if I decide to backtrack and go over here and gain some more experience, I'll have to jump over the spike trap again. So whenever you do complete something, you just pop this little token on it. So now I can just walk right past it. I've already taken care of what was in this room. And so there's red, yellow, there's green ones, white ones, blue ones, and purple ones. There's more yellow and red throughout the dungeon. I think there's 3 traps on each floor, and then 1 of each of the colors. So there's only 5 purples, 5 greens, 5 whites, and 5 blues. Some of them will remain in play, and some of them, when you walk away, all the stuff offered is gone. This, when I get a room, I'll put it here. That's the one we're currently working with. And here is an area for monsters whenever they come out, or if a trader offers up a loot, we'll put it up here in this little area. So it doesn't take up a lot of table space. I guess if I laid all these cards out, it'd take a little more space. On this side, we have experience tokens, we have health tokens, we have damage tokens, luck tokens, and then there are a few little effect tokens like bonuses to health, some webs, some lightning bolts. I don't know what I'm going to run into. I didn't read any of these cards as I went through them. So that's the preface. I'm going to go ahead and start this, just depending on how long things go. I might break it up into pieces. Maybe I'll get through a floor, maybe I won't. But it's Sunday. It's a solo. I'm going to drink some coffee. I've got the rules of play here, which on the back of it has a nice little reference of what you do. The turn overview is that you explore. You move your heroes on the dungeon map, you place a gem token, and you draw the matching room card. Then you resolve all written text on the room card, and then you rest. You discard the room card, and the heroes may camp. Then there's what you do in a combat round, how to spend luck, ability checks. Oh, look at this. For ability checks, you pass if your die 10 is less than or equal to your ability. So it's not going to be as hard. But I know on the attack step, it's different. You either get hit, both get hit, or pass. So there, correct that. So you've got one more chance of making it whenever you do your ability checks. You can spend 5 XP for a luck token. You can spend 5 XP to up your vitality. All of them are 5. These get exponentially bigger as they go. So if I wanted to increase my intellect, it would cost me 3. But to go from 4 to 5, it would cost 5. 5 to 6 would cost 8. And it gets all the way up to 11. These go to 11. To go from 10 to 11 would cost 25 experience points. But it would only cost 5 for my vitality. So I gotta manage that. Let's see if we can do this. Let's go ahead and go. So here I am the little pink wizard. Looks like maybe even a purple ink on there. And the first thing, I walk in the door. I can go left and I would run into a red gem, which I know is combat. Or I can go here and there's a red gem, which is combat. Might help me get around to this weapon area. Let's go ahead and move forward to the first red. So I'm going to go ahead and pop a little red token on it to say, you know, I've been to this room. And I am standing there on it, and I am going to draw a red card. This is the room, folks. Here we go. These are sleeved as well. Oh, great. First turn. Golem with ruby eyes. He is worth 4 experience points if you defeat him. He has 6 health. I have to roll higher than a 12 to hit him, a 12 or higher, and he does 3 damage back to me. Well, I might die on the first turn. You find a golem with ruby eyes. You may leave it alone or fight the golem. If you defeat the golem, draw 2 loot cards instead of 1 during the loot phase. Well, you know what? I'm going to leave him alone. So he is gone. And I will walk on by. Sorry, golem man. Didn't mean to upset you. Now I'm going to move forward into this room. Now this room has 2 different gems in it, and I resolve them in order. First I have the white. Oh, I guess maybe if that's I go left. So I've got a white one here. Not sure what it's going to do. So let's put it there. Let's hop up and let's go look and see what's in the white room. There we go. Deal with the devil. Draw a loot card and either keep it or discard it. If you choose to keep the loot card, you must pay die 6 minus 1 experience or health. Well, it doesn't hurt to look at it. So let's go ahead and put him down here. Let's draw this loot card. This loot is a loaf of bread. It says I can discard it to pass the maze ability check and gain an additional 2 experience points. Or I can discard it to gain 2 health. Well, I'm not going to give up all this experience for this card, so I am discarding it. And we will put it off to the side. Sorry, deal with the devil. I decided not to take your deal. So he will go over here. Well, there are traps on either side of me. And on these cards, what they've done, some of them are persistent. So you would leave the card out, but you would put your gem on it and they face in different directions. So if you had multiple cards and you had your little gems on them, you would face them in the direction based upon the card. So I knew the one facing north would be this one, and the one facing west would be that one. And that's how you identify which card or which trap is in which area, if it's persistent. So let's go this way and maybe try to get to the weapon guy. So I am going to pull a yellow one, and I'm going to cover it. And I'm going to pull a trap. Here we go. We have gremlins. Gremlins try to steal your equipment. Make an agility check. If I fail, I discard a loot card. If I pass, I gain 2 experience. So I'm making agility. My agility is 3. So I'm rolling a die 10, and I have to roll a 3 or less. Fortunately, I have 3 luck. So I'm on hard mode. I'm rolling 1 die. You can roll 2 10 sides on the intermediate and choose the best one, or you can roll 3 on beginner. But again, I'm a veteran gamer. Let's just try 1. Boom, I roll a 4. So I will spend a luck, which I can, and I'm going to drop my luck down to 2 to roll this pip down or up 1, and I will roll it down to a 3. 3 is a success. Success. I gain 2 experience points. Hey, look at this. We are running. We are running, folks. So I have passed this test. It is not a persistent. If it was persistent, it would tell you it would have something on there. So we have basically gone and succeeded here, and it's not persistent. So now I'm going to move down here. We're going to go to the purple. Let's see if I remembered. I thought this was a weapons thing. Prison cell. What? A humble prisoner agrees to join you if you manage to free him. Make a strength check. Pass if you discard a lockpick or a skeleton key. Well, I definitely don't have anything like that. If I pass, I take the cell sword from the specialty deck. Oh, well, there's nothing bad that happens if I fail. I just don't get it. I don't have a lockpick or a skeleton key, so this is strength, though. So I've got to roll a 2 or less. I've got a couple of lucks. Let's see. This guy might help me out. I rolled a 3. You know I'm spending luck. These are 2-sided. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so forth. I'm spending one of my luck to roll this down to a 2. and that 2 is going to be a success, and I am going to take the sellsword from the specialty deck, and he will become a henchman. These don't get shuffled, so let's dig through here and see what we have. Well, it looks like you can charm certain animals and monsters. There's some weapons. There's a spirit, a dwarf, Lilith, sellsword. Okay, so he becomes mine. And he says, gain +1 hero attack value in combat. Discard to block any damage. Well, look at this. That's where these little tokens for attack value. So I get a +1 on my attack values when I'm in combat. So there's my little modifier until he goes away. I can discard him to block any damage, but I like the fact that he is here helping me out. And now my attacks are going to be a little bit better. It says HAV, that's the acronym for it. There's an MAV for monster attack value, and then there's an MDM for monster damage, and then there is a HDM for hero damage. I mean, very few acronyms. All right, so the prison cell, I found a dude, I got lucky and busted him out. I am the great sorcerer. Okay, let's pull this out. So we have also finished this purple area. Man, how are we doing? What do we want to do? So now we can skip over any of these rooms if we want. I've not taken any damage. I've got a couple of experience, but you know what? Do I want to up my strength? I don't think I want to blow it right now. I think I want to wait and wait until I have the opportunity to get more stuff. So let's blow on by this. Let's go fight somebody. So I'm able to go backtrack and come over here to this red room. And let's see, now that I have a sellsword with me, what we can do. The guard barracks. Well, I saw this one come up during how-to videos. And basically, this is one of the ones that can put multiple monsters on you. Draw 2 monsters and resolve combat. So the room is still here. Here we go. Level 1 monster, we have giant wasps. And level 1 monster, we have skeleton. All right. So the skeleton is worth 1 experience. He has 1 health. His attack value is 8, which means I would have to roll higher than that. I have a 3 currently, and I would do 1 damage. He hits back for 1. He's got a couple of things here. I think holy water will destroy him, and a scroll can be used on him that would turn undead. I don't have either one of those. I do have this animate dead that allows me to pull a skeleton from the specialty deck. I don't know what a skeleton does. Maybe it gives me something special. I don't know. I don't know that I want to discard this. Well, I might as well. If I'm fighting a skeleton and kill him, maybe he turns into a helper. And then the giant wasp has 1 life. His attack value is 8, and he hits for 1. He has nothing else special. So a single monster, it's straight up. Multiple monsters, you choose one to fight, but for each other monster in the combat, every monster gets +1 to their attack value. So basically fighting the skeleton, there's 1 more guy, he's going to have a 9. If I fought the wasp, the skeleton's there, he's going to have a 9. So I have to decide what I want to do. I do have a plus to my attack value. So I'm going to attack the skeleton and hopefully maybe pull this dude up. Maybe he'll come out and fight for me and go against the wasps. We'll see. Meanwhile, the other monster is not hitting you or doing anything. You're just facing them one at a time, I guess dodging the other one. So I'm rolling on a die 10. I only have 1 luck left. I have a +1 to this roll. I rolled a 9. So I have a 9. Plus my intellect of 3 is 12. Plus 1 is 13. I definitely beat his 8 plus 1 for the wasp, which is 9, which means I hit him outright. He does not hit me back. And I hit him for 1 point because I have 1 damage from my weapon. This will take him out. And when it takes him out, I get 1 experience point. So now I am at 3. And I believe I get 1 loot card for defeating that skeleton. So he is a monster from level 1. I'm just going to move him over. You know, actually I can put him right there. And I'm going to draw a loot. And that loot is a potion of strength. If your strength is below 7, discard to gain 1 strength, and your strength is 7 for the current room. So this would actually improve mine, which only costs 2 XP anyway, but it would give me a boost of strength of 7 in the room I was in if I discard it. So I might save it until I'm up a little further, then discard it, pump my skill, and use it for what I need. So now let's go ahead and burn this animate dead. After defeating a monster, discard to take a skeleton from the specialty deck or discard, and it cannot be traded. Now this is one of my starter cards, so I'm actually just going to discard it on this side. I can buy it back for 5 XP. So let's go see what the skeleton does. This is exciting to me because all of this is brand new. I have no idea what any of this stuff does other than what I saw on some playthroughs, and they really didn't play through the whole game. They just showed you how it works. Skeleton. Here he is. Looks just like the dude I just beat. Let's see what he says. 5. Your strength is at least 5 for all ability checks. Discard to block any damage. Look at this. He becomes a dude that sits with me. So now my strength is virtual 5 because he's fighting with me. That's cool. Of course, I don't have any strength weapons, but that's going to help for ability scores. It's not going to help against this wasp, but that's cool. So the sellsword gives me plus on my attack, and this dude says, hey, your strength is increased, and I could always discard him to block any damage to save my life, probably. All right, so let's go ahead and continue combat, and let's take a swack or a magic staff at this giant wasp. Boom, that is a 6. Plus my 3. He has lost his +1 bonus because he doesn't have another guy helping him. So he has an 8. I've got 6, 3. I did it on my own. A 9 plus his. I did a 10. He is gone. I'm going to gain another experience. Now I'm at 4. We'll flip that over. We'll be buying stuff soon with that. And I'm going to get a loot card. So this monster is gone. There's my trophy wall. Let's see what the loot says. It's a shield. Discard to reduce damage taken by 4 health. So if anybody hits me anything up to 4, I can block it all. Anything beyond that, I can reduce it by 4. So it just slots and sits around waiting for things to happen. Now I'm going to say it, but I have not taken any damage thus far. Now, to get to the rest of this area here, I'm going to have to go through this trap. This guard barracks is gone. We have finished that one. These little plastic things, by the way, that hold these cards, they're just business card holders. You can get them on Amazon for like $3 a pop. And really cool for holding cards that are separated into different stacks. You know, not a huge deck, but I mean, this is a pretty good bit of cards that will fit in there. And I just lay them sideways, but you can stack them, and that way you could see the stuff. They'd all be above there, but you know, I like the keep it a little neat, keep them low. So let's go ahead and move here. Let's pull what we get. It looks like a lake of fire. Now this has a persistent symbol on it, so that means that I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to match it to the symbol on the map, which is north. This one is pointing north. I'm still going to cover it to show that I went there, but it's pointing north. Actually, you know, I think this stays off because this represents that I have already passed that room, so I don't have to use 2 tokens for that. So the Lake of Fire says, a ferryman offers to take you across for a fare. Fail unless one hero discards a loot card. If you discard a flying carpet, gain 3 experience and discard this room. If you fail, all heroes take 1d6 minus 1 damage. So I have to discard a loot card. Now, my starting gear is considered loot. So I have a shield spell, and I have a shield. You know what? I'll just discard the shield. I'm going to discard the shield. It's a loot card. It's going to go away, and I pass. It wasn't a flying carpet, but I made it past the room, and now this becomes persistent. So if I was to go back through there, which I tell you right now, I'm not going to go back through there, but if I were to go back, I've already done everything back there. Say if it was in the center and I had to cross it again, I would have to do this each time. All right, so let's move to the blue room and let's see what we got. We pop up. Now these will stack on top of each other. We have a locked safe. You enter a room with several locked safes. Any hero may discard a lockpick or a skeleton key to draw 2 loot cards. Well, guess what? Blue apparently is the one that requires specific items, and I don't have those specific items, so we have missed this opportunity. It goes away. Sorry, no keys. If I were the rogue, I might have started with one. All right, wow, we might make it out of level 1. I'm moving to the next area, and it is a red one. We've learned from previous experience, we're actually gaining experience as a player as well, that this will be some sort of combat. So let's go ahead and pull it up and hope for the best. We'll put it on top of Lake of Fire. It is an encounter. Looks like some sort of blue-eyed crocodile or ghoul or fiend or something. Draw 1 monster and resolve the combat. All right, so it's going to come out of level 1. I'm getting things all messed up, but that's how I play. It's a cave bear. He's worth 1 experience point. He has 2 health. He has a combat value of 7. He does 1 damage back, and it looks like he's got a couple of little specials there that says it looks like a hunk of meat. I think if you discard a hunk of meat, you can tame him, and then there might be a scroll speak to animals or something on there, something else on there, but I don't have any of them. It would actually say it on the card. So I am going to encounter this guy. And I will always start, and we will just say, let's have at it. Before we begin, which I believe you can do this at any time, I'm going to spend 3 of this experience, putting me down to 1, to increase my intellect by 1. It took 3. It'll take 5 to move it again. So now I have another +1 to hit with this. It's not increasing my damage any, but at least I might hit him and not get hit. So let's roll it. It is a 10. So as I said before, a 10 is an auto hit A 1 is an auto miss in combat. So, but if we added it up, I'd be at 14, 15. So I have hit him, and I have hit him for a mere 1 point of damage. He still has 1 left. He did not hit me, though, and that's cool. So now we will try it again. 5. Oh, how is this going to work? 5 and 4 is 9, 10. He's at 7. I hit him again, and I have knocked him out. Sorry, Cave Bear. You picked the wrong wizard to mess with today. So I gain 1 experience. It's going to put me back up to 2. And I get a loot card. That's the best part. Potion of Luck. Discard to gain 2 luck. Well, you know, I don't think there's anything that really takes luck away, but I might have to get rid of it to help me in a situation where it has you get rid of loot. So I'll just hang on to it because I can do that, basically gulp that instantaneously if I needed to. All right, it looks like what's left on this level is a trap and a green room. I'm not sure what's in a green room, so I have to go through the trap first. So let's give you, I have this ability. I'm going to go ahead and try this and see how it works. Boom. That's what the little map looks like. Isn't that cool? And then I'm going to try to pull it out. All right. So I'm going to move on to the yellow trap. Let's pull it and see if it's persistent or not. This encounter is gone, by the way. And that was a red. Yellow. It is a bat swarm. You are swarmed by hordes of bats. Pass only if your hero discards a torch. Fail. Take damage equal to your dungeon level. Pass, gain 3 XP. Well, I could only pass if I discard a torch. I don't have a torch, so I fail, and I am going to take a point of damage because that is the current level of the dungeon I'm in. So I am at 3 hit points. Man, that's a quarter of my life gone by a swarm of bats. Imagine going through the dungeon and facing off against all of these critters and taking damage by a swarm of bats. Well, you don't have to do all of the rooms in the dungeon, but for me, the special ones that are only occur once per level, I want to look at them because I want to see what they are. You know, combat's combat and traps are traps, but the goodies, purple, white, blue, green, I want to find what the goodies are. So let's go ahead and work our way over here, and let's go to the green room. And let's see what it says. It says, hey, treasure room. You find a room filled with treasure. All heroes draw 2 loot cards. Wow. Aren't you glad you checked it out? Let's see what we got. We got some boots. Discard to reduce damage taken by 1 health. Okay. What I have? Oh, this is a shield spell. Okay. Discard to reduce damage taken by 1 health. Okay, well, that might help. And a potion of, and I'm scooting over here because I'm sorry, a scroll of invisibility. Discard to gain +2 hero attack value until the end of combat. Wow, that's super beneficial. If I can build up my damage, having +2 attack and then doing some major damage might help me on level 2. So I have completed the green room, and as you can see, the whole card is completed. I can walk to the exit. I can take this. That was pretty cool. I like that. Beneficial. Boon or Bane. That's green. And so what happens here? We move down to level 2. And sorry about that, but my hand just rocked all these off of there. But I did not find another weapon to do more damage, and that to me is not a good thing. So we'll put the white up, we'll put the reds, the yellows. Now, since I have left that level, this persistent lake of fire, I'm not going to be able to go back up. So this persistent lake of fire is gone. Now, there are enough cards for you not to have to reshuffle the deck. And that's a question that came up. It's like, oh, well, you know, if you run through, you're going to run across some of these again. Nope. There's only one instance of blue, green, purple, and white per floor. There's 5 floors. There's 5 cards each, with exception of the tomb or the crypt side cards. And there's more than enough to cover every encounter for combat and for traps. So you mix it up, and sometimes you're going to come across big hitters early and then come across smaller hitters later. So here's another thing that'll happen. I'll move this down to level 2. These level 1 monsters, as you see, I have a stack of, I only fought 3 of them. Those were all level 1, 3, 6, 7 more. I've got 10 total. I only fought 3 of them. Now we're out of level 1. So there's 7 cards left in there I have not seen. And now we're going to go to level 2, which has a whole stack of cards that I've not seen. So what I'm going to do is cut it off right here. We're just shy of an hour, but we'll pick it up a little bit later and see if we can't maybe get through 5 levels and meet a boss. So I'm going to sign out for now, part 1, and we'll be back with a part 2.